Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Dolphin Fan Voices podcast. Another podcast. I'm sorry about last week, man. You get busy working on some shit, and sometimes you don't want to stop working on it. And then family things come up. But this week right here, there's a lot of shit to talk about, man. Of course, got my partner in crime with me, co-host. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Thanks, brother. This is Ron out in California. I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. Been a fan since before I could even walk, and it's not going to change. Dolphins all the way, bro.
So where are we going to start this thing off? There's just so many stories that we can talk about. It's gonna almost be hard to try to put this thing into the hour that we normally go, but there's just so many angles and so many stories to talk about. What do you want to start off with today, man?
Training camp, I guess. There's a lot of stories.
A ton of stories. Which story from training camp is the most interesting to you, especially some of the people who are actually starting that I never expected to even hear their names as starters? And I know this is the beginning of training camp, but there are a couple names that caught me off guard that are starting for us. What do you think about these guys who are starting that I didn't even see those guys being starters on the team, especially not this year? What do you think about that?
Biggest one for me is starting middle linebacker Sam Aguvon from CFL. He's the number one linebacker, and McMillian and Alonzo are on second team. That one to me was like, what is going on? And that was from day one and then carried to day two. And then today was full pads, and that carried over to day 3 too. He was also the starter there.
And people were stating that it's only training camp. This is not the way it's going to be when we get to the regular season or even preseason. But why in the hell do you continue to put these guys with the first team defense if this isn't going? It makes no sense. If they only do it for a few days and then you see it switch or whatever the case may be, that might be the case. But if we continue to see the Sam Eloquin, McMillian sitting on the bench, you got Bobby McCain playing safety, we continue to see this throughout these practices, I would expect to see these things in the preseason as well, no?
Yes and no. I think with that Aguvon, the linebacker, I think a lot of his reason why he's got the opening day or for training camp right now is there's no NFL tape on him. He went from college to the CFL, and he was signed by Chris Greer before we hired Brian Flores.
Right.
So I don't think they have anything, they can't pop in tape like they can Raekwon, or he got all last year's play. They can look at how he did against certain teams and looks and disguises. So there's really nothing on him as a pro yet. But also, I think another thing that I don't see any of the beat writers discussing about some of these surprise starters is in OTAs. Sam made Josh Rosen, his bitch, picking him off like 3 or 4 times in OTAs. So I think his coverage and his ability to thump still in the running game, I think has Flores and Graham kind of looking at, well, maybe we have something here. Let's take a look. So I think the day one, they just went ahead and gave him, we'll put him with the ones and see what he does. And he really never made a mistake. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So then that carried over to day two. They gave how Flores does it. He's got a day one install, a day two. He just keeps adding packages, looks, different scheme. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so far as he's given that to Sam Egevon and Jerome Baker at linebackers, they're taking it, they're processing it, and they're translating it when they hit the field, and they're not making any mistakes. You know what I mean? They're hitting their right keys, they're filling the proper gaps. And so until they make a mistake, I don't see them getting taken out. But for me, this early on, it's some of these guys is there's not much or no tape at all on them. So Flores is trying to see what they actually can do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you listen to Armando Salguero, he took the day one stuff and like Ballage is the new number one running back. Egevon's the new starting linebacker. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
He just took it like he did the tanking job. Oh, we're just going to tank. We're going to tank for Tua. 2020, we're drafting a quarterback. You know what I mean? It's just like overreaction to what Flores is doing. And I honestly think Flores does some of these things just to watch like Omar Kelly and Armando and those guys just like their head just blows off. And he just sits back like Belichick laughing his ass off. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. He almost does it just to see how they're going to react to it.
Like stirring the pot. Like when you pick on somebody that just can't see what you're talking about, and you just keep screwing with them just to see what they do. You know what I mean? It's like entertainment.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Bobby McCain playing free safety and actually looking like he could possibly be the starter at free safety? Or do you think that's going to be the situation with Bobby McCain? I actually think it's a good idea. I'm not bothered by it at all. I think it puts Bobby McCain in a very good situation. And I like it. I actually like that. I like that idea, especially if you're not going to use Minka at the free safety, then I like the move of putting Bobby McCain in at free safety. What are your thoughts on it?
When I first heard it, I didn't like it.
No?
Because like pre-draft,
Yeah.
I know me and you didn't get to talk as much as we used to do the previous 2 years. You know what I mean? Like leading up to the Senior Bowl, me and you would talk like all the time.
Right.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. That we'd give each other players to look at, and then we'd watch the Senior Bowl.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this offseason, we really didn't do that as much. We still did it, but not you're too busy, and I ended up getting super freaking busy too.
Yeah.
And with my mom having her heart attack and all that stuff, so I had too much on my plate.
Right.
But I at first when I heard it, him moving to free safety from the nickel slot, I didn't like it because like when Burke moved him from the nickel slot and he just started figuring out how to be above average to hit, he was like scratching elite at the slot position.
Right.
And if you know anything about CBs and coverages and stuff, a lot of teams struggle and they seem to never, ever be able to find, because it's so hard to do, is as a slot corner that can do it. It's even harder to find than the actual boundary corner guys, because the slot, you're literally the wide receiver that you're lined up against or the tight end. There's a two-way go, and you actually have to really know who's got you over the top, who who's got you on the inside, if there's a linebacker at all that's got helping you on the inside. And if there's not, you're literally on an island with somebody like Landry and those guys, or if they gig you, they put in like AJ Green or Julio in the slot. You're at a disadvantage if the defensive scheme doesn't slide the number one corner to the number one wide receiver. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they instantly give you a mismatch, and it's so hard to find a really good slot corner. And that's where the Seattle or Los Angeles Chargers really improved themselves, as they drafted that Desmond King, and he's like super elite at the slot. But without that super elite slot, you look like the Eagles. That's their Achilles heel. It's their slot corner. That's when teams going 3 wide, they get slaughtered.
Right.
And with Bobby McCain, he earned that second contract, being like he was on the cusp of top 10 at the slot corner. And then Burt just switches him to boundary corner, takes Tankersley off, who looked good as a rookie. You know, we're all looking to see what his improvement would go from jump one from year 2 to year 2. Year 1 to year 2, sorry.
Right.
So when I look at him getting moved to free safety, I didn't like it. But following the training camp day 1, day 2, and day 3, and he actually had an interview, I think yesterday or today.
Yeah.
And he's saying he loves free safety. He considers himself, he's no longer a corner, he's a free safety. So I don't know if it's going to work. I know you like it, but I don't know if I can get on board yet.
I like it because I don't think it's going to put him in the situations where he's playing a lot of man-to-man. That's the one thing that I like in this situation. And I hope I'm right about that. But I think he'll excel more if he's not relied on more to play that man-to-man coverage. Now, but I do understand. I do understand what you're saying. I mean, you got a guy who has earned a contract from playing a particular position, and now you got him. He gets a nice contract for playing that position, and then boom, you take him and you switch him to a completely different thing, and now the next year here you go switching him to something else. But I think the biggest part of him moving to the free safety is because they're trying to put the best players on the field at the same time. And I still don't understand how it's going to work with Minkah in the nickel. Are we going to have 3 cornerbacks on the field at all times? Because I don't want to sit Minkah Fitzpatrick on the bench as well. And I think the reason why you put Minkah there is because Minkah looked better at slot corner than he looked at safety. And he's a first round pick, so you got something invested in him.
I don't think we're gonna see, if we go in even fronts like the 43. I don't think we're gonna see 3 linebackers out there.
No,
I don't see Bobby McCain or Minkah Fitzpatrick coming off the field.
Ooh.
And I honestly don't see Jones coming off the field, because Jones has already been working out at Sam linebacker.
Okay.
So as we switch our front, we'll take an even front, go into the 3-man, the 3 big tackles, right. And then we'll use the linebacker shading over. I don't see them coming off, and from what I've gathered or guessing, Minkah and Bobby are going to be moving around, but not coming off the field.
Oh, so that's going to leave us super light up front. That's going to leave us.
No. Well, we're going to do a lot of 5 and 6 DBs, and we're going to blitz a lot.
But what happens when we go into a game where we're playing like the Dallas Cowboys, and their front is 2 tight ends, and here comes Ezekiel Elliott? Are we going to stay to that front? I hope this thing is going to be game plan based on who we're playing.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see some times where Minka will slip from the slot to the boundary, and Bobby stays in at free safety,
Okay.
and he won't be playing so deep. And
Right.
they'll drop Jones from the line of scrimmage back to the cover 2 shell look,
Right.
and then Minka, instead of playing at the line of scrimmage in the slot, he'll be out wide.
At the boundary. So Eric Rowe will go and sit down in that package.
Right.
All right.
And then that still allows them, because right now I think our best tacklers is Bobby McCain, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Rashad Jones
Right.
at the DB spot.
Right.
And I see Howard not too far behind them, but
Right.
he can have and has showed that, he doesn't really jam his head all the way down in there in the run.
Right.
But like you'll see Minka, he'll sell completely out.
Yeah.
Bobby sells completely out.
Yep.
And so does Jones. Jones is like a rabid dog that just doesn't stop chasing until the whistle blows. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think if we see that where Rowe comes off, or whoever that second corner typically is, they'll slide off. Minka will slip out. They'll rotate Jones off the line of scrimmage when there's more than one wide receiver, or we're changing our look, and we'll do that. But in those bigger packages, we have a lot of 5-tech guys that can play like the William Hayes role, Jonathan Ledbetter, Tank Carradine, and that Dwayne Hendricks. They've been balling out in that 5-tech right now. They're the bigger defensive end guys we have.
Right.
I think our D line is not going to look like a typical Khalil Mack, Von Miller, guys taken after the quarterback with the front. That they're going to be used, hold the edge, and let the blitzer come free. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Right.
They're going to look to stop Ezekiel Elliott, force Dak
To beat him.
and Witten and those guys to beat him in the coverage and get there, be able to throw it before Baker comes off a blitz, or Jones is blitzing and we're dropping one of the guys into the soft zone off the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? Use the confusion. They don't really know who's coming and who's going like the Patriots do.
Right.
And like how the Detroit Lions beat the Patriots when they faced each other. Like Patricia used Belichick's own scheme against him and they couldn't stop it.
Right.
But like I was saying, I think we should have drafted a true free safety and left Bobby in the nickel, and then found a different role for Minka, or force him to be the free safety.
Or force him to be the outside boundary corner.
Not so much, maybe a few times, but not a lot, because it wasn't really his true strength.
Right.
And I think Minka, the way Saban used him when he did play free safety, he has shown flashes to be that special dude at free safety. He has the range and the speed.
Right.
He just doesn't get a lot of reps because he's so good in the slot.
Right.
And if we go to a 3 safety look, you have a strong safety, a free safety, and then what they call a weak side safety.
Right.
But that weak side safety is typically just a guy that plays a pseudo nickel role, and they'll drop down into the line of scrimmage to make it look like it's man coverage, and they'll release the guy to a zone, and they'll fly to the flat with run responsibility first. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like if Ezekiel or Todd Gurley, they play action and then they do those wheel routes coming out of the backfield, that weak side safety is the one that flies to the flat to cover that guy. You will no longer be relying on Kiko in that role, who we saw so many times. He easily just a one juke move and Kiko's tackling air. and then we're gashed for a big play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Patriots do it all the time. They run those legal picks at the line of scrimmage within the 5 yards, take a dude out like that last year when that Patterson guy beat Howard over the top because he got rubbed out at the line of scrimmage and couldn't get back, and they beat us for a deep touchdown. It's that kind of stuff. So though the strength of Minka is he likes blowing up the bubble screens. That's where he got that pick against the Vikings. They tried that bubble screen to Diggs, and he sniffed it out, picked it, and took it to a touchdown.
Yep.
So that weak side safety is kind of like in that nickel role, which is his strength, but he's still technically a safety. See what I'm saying? And then we can still have Bobby McCain covering the slot guy and switch them off. They can communicate who's, so that we can fight those pick plays.
Right. The other story coming out of camp was the fact that Kalen Ballage, the second-year running back, is starting. He's coming out and he's playing with the number ones. And the guy who I feel like has Pro Bowl caliber talent is the second stringer again. I feel bad for Kenyon Drake, man. He has had to sit behind, and well, I wouldn't say last year he sat behind Frank Gore, but I don't think Frank Gore should have been splitting carries with him. I thought he was a much more effective running back. Before that, he sat behind Jay Ajayi, and they had him playing gunner on the punt team. But he's never gotten an opportunity to really be that guy. We saw some of it in the backside after we traded Jay Ajayi, and I thought he would come in and just be the workhorse after showing what he can do, and he ends up splitting carries with Frank Gore. What do you feel about Kalen Ballage coming out playing with the ones, and Kenyon Drake not a starter? Do you think that's something that holds up, or is that just something that's happening early on in camp?
Man, I'm torn. I'm hoping that it doesn't hold out because Ballage, even though he's built, like if you just look at Kalen Ballage and you look at his height and his weight and how he looks the part of a workhorse back.
Right.
But when you watch him, he's basically exact same type of player as Kenyon Drake, but he doesn't have the vision for the holes to see it at a split second. He doesn't have that elusiveness or the power to run over a guy. I mean, he has straight line speed, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I just think watching him at the Senior Bowl and stuff, and all the scouts had what they considered his weaknesses, it shows on tape. I think he excels like he did at Arizona State, catching the wheel routes, being a weapon out of the backfield, like how the Chicago Bears used Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
Kind of like a matchup problem on the linebackers. I can see him doing that. Despite his 6'1" or 6'2", 218 to 220 frame, I don't see him with those skill set to be like a Melvin Gordon, someone that can be the bell cow carrier. And I don't know if Drake can do that, but if out of the running backs that we do have, I think Drake has the chance to be special. And we've got enough of seeing of him playing. When he did get a chance, he shows flashes of the eliteness that like the top 8 or 5 running backs display. Whether he's running people over or not, he's tied for first as a guy with yards after first contact. And then you measure, well, what is he doing when he gets the ball? For a small per carry per game, he's reeling off touchdowns.
Yep.
He's getting you the first downs. And he shows flashes like when we had to trade Jay Ajayi because him and Gase didn't get along. Then we had to wait till Damian Williams, who I loved, I thought we should kept. They let him go because they didn't want to pay him $1 to $2 million. let him go sign with the Chiefs, but he had to get hurt. And I believe with my heart that if Sunrise Perry didn't get hurt on special teams, that he would have got the third chance, and Drake still would have been in a backup role.
Wow.
I think that goes. I think it's like I saw someone's comment and I liked it. Is that someone posted that Gase probably left instructions for Flores on how to use Kenyon Drake.
Yep.
I seen that and I laughed my ass off for a day or two when I seen it. It clicked. I just like resonated with me. It's like, how if you're evaluating talent, and I get that we drafted Kenyon Drake because in Alabama he was a special kick returner, punt returner kind of guy, and he could catch the ball really well out of the backfield.
Right.
I get that, when you draft a player, you have an idea of how you're going to use them. But it's the coaches like Belichick and Dick Vermeil and Andy Reid, when they finally do get a guy, they hit the field and they have the vision to say, well, okay, I know we only have this guy pegged as a returner, special teams guy, but man, I can see this dude becoming very special. Let's use him in this role. Take, for example, Tyreek Hill. They drafted his ass as a running back.
Yep.
That's what he was in college too. Reed looked at him when they were doing punt and kick returns and goes, hey, throw his ass out there at wide receiver. I want to see. He runs a post and beats the guy because of his raw speed. Next thing you know, Tyreek Hill's the talk of the NFL as a number one wide receiver.
Yep.
So I get how you're drafting a player, but it's the good coaches, the elite coaches that can see that the guy has more talent than what's been already displayed. That are able to peel that onion back and make him a special kind of talent and allow that light to shine. And I feel like we've had such shitty coaches with Philbin and then Gase is they don't have that vision to see a guy when they're watching him and say, wow, I can do this and this and this with this guy. And we saw it every Sunday. We watched Drake get a carry against the Bills his rookie year. He bounces it out late in the season, gets that 45-yard touchdown on just a mind-blowing play. It's like, okay, how are we going to get this guy more touches? That's a common sense that I look at, that you look at. But these coaches like, well, my job's on the line. This guy's only a kick returner. I'm just going to, and then they end up stabbing themselves in the neck because they don't take a chance that, they're not trusting what they see. It's like when you're in business and you see an opportunity, the guys that get rich or stay at their job or get promotions are the ones that say, okay, this is an opportunity no one's taking advantage of. I'm going to take advantage of it. Next thing you know, oh, that was such a good move, Isaiah. You're such a genius. Hey, we're going to promote you. You're no longer just a regular guy. You're going to be a foreman now. Then you do the same move again. Oh, you're not a foreman now. You're a supervisor. Now you're a manager. Now you're a store. Now we're going to give you your own store. You have talent, kid. That kind of idea, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If you never this guy is showing me he gets 5 carries, he's got 80 yards off of 5 carries. Well, what happens if I give him 20 carries? Are we going to blow a team out, kill the clock, and we win the game?
Exactly.
Or are we just going to stick with, Gore's my best friend. I'm just going to keep handing him the ball. We're getting those 2 or 3, 4 yards. That's good enough for me. Or do you want to take a chance on hitting on, someone that didn't have the hype coming out of the draft, but showed that they like Aaron Donald. No one's seen him as the best defensive lineman, period. Forget end or tackle designation. The dude's just straight. He's a generational guy. No one, when he got drafted, no one thought he was that.
Right. Now look at him.
Yeah. And the Colts were done with Marshall Faulk. Dick Vermeil gets him and goes, man, this guy is going to be the showcase of our offense. He was the last piece that we needed. And if you look at it, they turned from bottom of that division to Super Bowl champs, the best there is. You talk about their offense. there's a nickname for it. You don't get a nickname if you're just average.
Exactly.
The greatest show on turf. He run the ball, he blocked, he caught, he did it. Whatever you could do, he did it. Drake's that guy. Look what he did in that one game. I forgot who the opponent was. He chipped the guy coming out of the backfield, dumped the defensive end on. It was the Bengals. He dumped that defensive end on his ass. Runs out to a pattern, turns in the zone, catches the ball, makes 3 guys miss, and gets the first down on 3rd and 20. He blocked, he caught it, and he got the first down. Does Gore do that?
No. The guy he's a special. I believe he's a special running back, and he has the capabilities of being a Pro Bowl running back. But he hasn't been given the opportunities. I thought we should have, when we had Jay Ajayi and Kenyon Drake, I thought we should have split the carries evenly. If you had a question about Jay Ajayi's knees or whatever the case may be,
lighten the load.
Lighten the load, and you've got the perfect running back to do it, and it just never happened. It didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense. Now, the other story coming out of training camp is the newest addition to the Miami Dolphins. We signed another receiver. I felt like a few weeks ago we didn't even get to talk about the little wide receiver that we signed. And I don't really know if he's little. I do know he runs like a 4.3 or something like that. Blacknall or Black Sneed, whatever his name is.
Saeed Blacknall, yeah, he's 6'3.5". He's 208 pounds and runs faster than Parker. Yeah, he's a big guy too.
Whoa, I didn't know he was that big. I thought he was a little receiver. My bad. I wasn't informed.
No, he's a monster, dude. Him and Preston Williams were standing next to Jakeem Grant, and fuck, dude, Grant looked like the water boy, dude. This guy is a giant.
So we get him, we get that receiver, and then we also go and get Allen Hurns. So now you have all of these, receivers that are coming in, and somebody's got to go.
Yeah, was that 12 receivers now?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lick of sense to me. And I understand you want to continue to stockpile talent or whatever the case may be, but I feel like we have some young guys who still have not gotten an opportunity. And all this is going to do is just put more people in their way. And I can perfectly see a guy like Preston Williams ending up either getting cut or in a practice squad now. I didn't see that before the Hurns move, but I can see some shit like that happening now.
I hear what you're saying, and that's my initial thought. But how I look at it is what have me and you been saying since 3 years ago when we started doing these podcasts after talking a while? What was our comments? We watch Parker, Stills, Jarvis Landry come in. They're in their shorts, and they sound like they're the best trio in the NFL, right?
Right.
And then preseason comes, next thing you know, got a couple of dudes hamstrings. And then season starts, and all we have going on the field is Stills and Landry. And Parker's nursing an injury.
Right.
And that's been, fuck, dude, for 4 years, even before Gase got hired.
Right. Right.
I think these moves I was thinking about it yesterday. And there's no longer a favorite set.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense what I'm saying. Like last year or the year before, we knew no one was taking snaps from Kenny Stills.
Yep.
No one was taking snaps from Jarvis Landry. And no one was taking snaps from Devontae Parker unless Parker got hurt.
Right.
This year, I get the vibe that Flores doesn't give a fuck who your name is. If it was Odell Beckham Jr. or Julio Jones, he don't give a fuck. You're gonna have to. I seen it yesterday, but can I see it today? And Parker has always been an enigma to me, and I was done with him in 2017 offseason.
Yep.
And I shocked you by saying, why don't we trade this guy, get something else, and fix something else on our team?
Yep.
Give these other guys like Isaiah Ford, Francis Owosu, give these guys a chance to show what they've got.
Right.
Or make sure that that Stills never comes off the field. Like before he would come off, they would have packages. You'd see Stills and Landry on the sideline, and you don't know why.
Yep.
And so I look at it like Hearns has an injury history since his best year was 2015 with the Jags.
Yep.
Parker's always nicked up and hurt. And when the hard part about Parker is he don't even have to be full blown hurt, like injured, like a real injury, like where he can't, he's having a hard time. You can see that he can't walk. You know what I mean?
Right.
He gets a nick, like his hand is sore, his hamstring is sore. His mindset, it's like he shuts down. You know what I'm trying? I don't know if I'm saying it right or the right words to describe it. But he's no longer 100% in. He's running routes at 50%, 80%. And the next thing you know, there's a pick. You know what I mean? Like when Stills last year, you could see him, he was hurt. He's still going balls to the walls, even if it, when they come to the huddle, we're going to, hey, Amendola's getting, the slant. They line up and their guys run the routes. You see Stills and Grant, they're running like it. They're getting ball thrown to them, but they know they're not. You watch Parker when the ball's not coming to him, you can see, like if the coach is actually watching, you can see he's not in it. He gives it away, like his body language. Oh fuck, they're not throwing this guy. They're going somewhere else, kind of thing.
Yep.
So I think Hearns and Blacknall and those guys that we picked up and signed off of waivers and shit, I think it's an insurance policy for, as I call it, I'm probably in the minority, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it's not if Parker's going to get hurt, it's when.
When Parker's going to get hurt, absolutely.
And so do we want to keep going for our fourth season where we really don't have a legit number one X wide receiver out on the field? You know what I mean? So, like, I look at it, if Hearns doesn't get hurt and he can stay healthy, Parker doesn't get hurt. Now you're right. Now what do? You're not going to field 10, 11 wide receivers. You're just not. You don't have the roster space to hold that many guys. So someone has to go.
Right.
And if we cut Preston Williams, he ain't going to clear waivers so we can put him on the practice squad. He's too talented. He had a second-round grade, and the only reason why he went undrafted was because everybody was worried about his arrest and then breaking that restraining order in the offseason.
Yep.
So if he goes through our camp and makes it, looks good, and doesn't get in trouble with the law, he's no longer, you know what I mean? His talent is too good to resist. Even if he did beat the fuck out of his girlfriend, you know what I mean? But like you're saying, then we're stuck. Say we cut him. We cut that Reese Horn and that Trent Irwin. And then 2 games in, Parker's done, Hearns is done. We're back to all we have left is Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson, Kenny Stills. There's no 6'3" guy on the outside.
Exactly.
Dictating the coverage. And now we have to scheme more. We have to play Gesicki as the pseudo outside big target.
Right.
Line these other guys up. But then the teams know where you're going. They're going to double cover, bracket Wilson and Stills. And they're going to linebacker cover Gesicki. And then they'll use their off third corner on Jakeem and hope for the best and maybe blitz on that package. Because our offensive line is weak. So I agree with you. Someone's got to go. But I look at it as there's no longer these 3 or 4 guys are locks. They don't have any competition. I think that's out the window. I think all of them have a competition.
I wonder if this is going to set us up in a situation where we don't keep as many running backs and we end up keeping more receivers. Do you think it's
I can see that. I agree with you. I was talking about with somebody the other day. I don't think we keep more than 3 running backs because we're keeping a fullback, so that would be our 4th guy.
right?
We're not keeping 4 running backs and a fullback for 5 guys. That's not happening. I don't see it either.
Mm-mm. But then you have all of those tight ends that we have as well. So tight end and wide receiver is like we've got quite a bit of decisions to make on those 2 positions. It's going to be some fun position battles coming into this preseason when it comes to wide receivers and tight. But I think one of the tight ends is already hurt. I think he's on the PUP list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, our free agent signing Dwayne Allen, our blocking tight end guy.
But I think they say it's not serious or something like that.
It's not serious, but he missed all of OTAs and he's missing camp right now.
Yep. They said the same thing about TJ McDonald as well.
Yeah, but did you notice him though? He was on the PUP and was probably comfortable staying on there.
Mm-hmm.
And Montre Hardage is balling out. Minka Fitzpatrick's balling out. Bobby McCain at free safety's balling out. I think he looked at it and said, "Fuck, I won't have a job." He was on PUP, and then he come back today. He was like, missed only 1 day on the PUP. He was back active again.
He said, "Oh hell no!
Oh hell no, I'm not getting cut."
I'm getting cut."
Who do you see at the tight end that you really like that you don't know if they're going to make the team?
That tight end from Notre Dame, I think his name is. I think he's from Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, our 4th round pick, Durham Smythe.
Yeah, they drafted him as a blocking tight end, but it's going to be very crowded. And Mike Gesicki is probably going to end up being the starter. But then you have Dwayne Allen, who's going to fill the same role as Durham Smythe, unless you're going to come out and sit Gesicki down and put both Smythe and Dwayne Allen out there when we go into some hard-nosed running situations. I don't understand. I don't see where Smythe fits in. And then you have what's the name of the other guy?
Oh, that guy, Clive Walford.
You got Clive Walford, but you also have the other guy, the other tight end.
Nick O'Leary from the Bills.
Exactly. So tight end is going to be, I can see us keeping 3 of those guys.
Who do you see the 3 guys as?
It's probably going to be Gesicki, the Dwayne Allen, and I don't know who the 3rd guy is going to be. But we're going to end up letting some in. I don't know. Probably Nick O'Leary.
I don't see Dwayne Allen making it.
You don't?
No, this is the 2nd year he's had wounds and injuries and stuff. And right now with him on the PUP, we get an extended look at Durham Smythe blocking and receiving. And that rookie kid we got from Temple, I can't pronounce his last name, Myrick or Mayak or whatever. He's a big dude that can block too. And I love Nick O'Leary. I think we keep maybe 3 or 4 tight ends, and I don't see Dwayne Allen as one of them, unless they keep him as because he's got a previous history with both O'Shea and Flores.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. He's got a connection with those guys, and he was, what was he, like the only decent free agent signing that we had?
Yeah.
So that I don't know how much that's going to factor in, but that's another position that's going to be very, very interesting to watch and see who actually ends up on the outside looking in.
Well, I can't remember who I seen it from doing the play-by-play of the training camps,
Mhm.
but they were saying that Clive Walford looks really good as blocking and catching,
Wow.
and Durham Smythe looks really good blocking and catching, and that since Gesicki's no longer lined up in line with his hand in the dirt, they're using him out split wide, or he's in the slot like with the receivers,
Right.
and they're using him as running routes or blocking from out there instead of in tight at the line of scrimmage, and he looks more effective running those routes
as a
as like how they New England used Gronk in his rookie year
and Hernandez.
and Hernandez, where they were running routes, they weren't really inline blocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, this is gonna be one of the This is gonna be.
But Gesicki looks jacked. Like last year when he would do interviews from the training camp, he looked like his neck was. He looked like a regular guy. He didn't look like he played NFL.
Right.
They interviewed him yesterday or today. I was watching from the Miami Herald videos. Man, he looks like a pro wrestler. His neck is all fucking swollen. His cheeks are all, big. He actually looks like like there's strength to him. You know what I mean? Like last year he looked frail. His arms were all thin. It's like, is this guy really a tight end? Kind of look like my 6'1" nephew, just like a tall, lanky kid. Now he's out there. He's got these veins in his neck. He kind of yoked out a little bit. So I think when we heard how he gained like 10, 15 pounds, I think it's more along the lines of 20.
Oh.
Because after all the running and shit, he come out of college as 250, and then kind of like the Jason Taylor incident, you know what I mean? Yeah. After they run all that shit in camp and sweating in that heat, they go from the 250, they're really literally 242, 236.
Yeah.
They're no longer that big. You can see it.
Yep.
But like Gesicki now, he looks, if he's 250, I think the scales kind of broke. I think he's leaning 255 or more. And if he can hold on to like lose 5 of that after running, maybe if he stays to 250, maybe he has a shot. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't lost his agility. He is making one-handed catches on day 1 or day 2. I can't remember. They posted a video on the official website. He mossed fucking Bobby McCain.
Right. Which I don't take too much consideration into.
Yeah, because they were in shorts. There was no pads.
Yeah, I stopped.
What we were talking about with Parker kind of thing.
Yep, absolutely.
But I think we can keep O'Leary because he offers versatility as an H-back. He can play fullback.
Right. See, and that's another thing. Why in the hell did we have O'Leary who can play that position, and then you go and draft somebody to play the same thing?
Well, we picked him up when the Bills cut him during the season.
No, I'm talking about the Cox kid from Alabama. I mean, from Auburn.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I wrong. I was thinking wrong guy. Yeah, they drafted him in the 7th round from Auburn to play fullback. I thought the same thing. Why do that if we already have a guy that could do it?
Exactly.
And is good at it. Like Nick O'Leary. They were talking about the defense went to Gase and told him that, he's popping in practice. Why isn't this guy starting?
Yeah. So and if I'm not mistaken, when we made that pick, a guy like Jalen Jelks was still on the board.
There was more than just Jalen Jelks. There was that Brailford kid from the Oklahoma State that was a good rusher.
Yep.
The guy you like from Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, Missouri, that Carl Granderson.
Yep.
Jalen Jelks from Oregon was still on there. There was a couple other guys still too. Yeah.
See, that doesn't make any sense. Wow.
But I could see kind of why they like Cox. I liked Cox in Auburn as a fullback.
Right.
And he is getting work as a tight end too, so he's not really always just going to play in the backfield.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was intended or not, or if it was a mistake, but they had a few plays today, and since it was full contact and pads, they had Ballage and Drake in at the same time.
Okay.
And they play action, faked it to Balaj, and then threw it to Balaj in the flat.
Ooh.
So I don't know. Maybe Cox is more of a special teams guy at the start till he gets his feet underneath him as a rookie.
Right.
But I'm probably in the minority. I don't see Dwayne Allen making it with it being hurt.
No.
To me, it gives chance if he stays out all the way till week 1,
He's not going
where they have to make a choice, and like Durham Smythe keeps balling out, blocking and catching, because he's showing more as a catcher than what people thought of him. And Nick O'Leary seems like a Hall of Famer when Rosen's throwing him the ball. It's touchdown almost every single time in the red zone work with Rosen throwing to Nick O'Leary as a tight end. They seem to have like a uncanny fucking mindless connection, like a hive unit.
Nice.
And he can block. He's a stud blocker. He was our best blocker last year.
Yep. Which is why I don't understand why you go and create unnecessary competition for a guy you just re-signed, especially when you know you're not going to be able to keep as many tight ends. You have a full tight end room, and then you're only probably gonna, if you're gonna keep a fullback, you're only gonna keep one. So I don't quite understand that move. So I guess to end this podcast off, we'll end it with the Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick conversation that it's been 3 days at camp now.
Yep.
By all reports from the media, Ryan Fitzpatrick had 2 excellent days. Josh Rosen had 2 not so excellent days. And then today when the pads came on, Josh Rosen, from everything that I've seen, and I've seen some conflicting reports too, because I've seen some people saying that he was having drives, but they weren't going nowhere. And then I've seen other people saying that it was his best day, and he had a great day. And Ryan Fitzpatrick had a subpar day today.
I heard the same thing, that Rosen was scoring touchdowns and moving the ball really well when the pads came on. And then Fitzpatrick fumbled a couple exchanges and was throwing some poor passes and didn't really do much. And he got yelled at by Flores, basically undressed him, yelling at him, and then made him run to the TNT wall.
I have gone on record, and I've stated that I think it's imperative for Josh Rosen to win this job. I think it would be absolutely huge for us if he wins the job and shows out, becomes a franchise quarterback, and then we look up and next year we don't have to draft a quarterback and we got a loaded draft. But I've had other people say if Ryan Fitzpatrick wins the job, let him start, and whatever the case may be with Rosen. I don't like that philosophy at all. I think we need to find out what we got in Josh Rosen. What we got in Josh Rosen going into the 2020 draft, especially, and I haven't evaluated not a single quarterback in the 2020 draft, but from all reports that I've heard, it's 5 to 7 deep.
It is.
So
there's Eason that transferred from Georgia to Washington.
Right.
There's Jordan Love at Utah State.
Yep.
Fromm from Georgia, if he comes out. Tua from Alabama, if he comes out. And Herbert from Oregon, he's a senior. He has no more eligibility, so he'll be out.
Yep.
Easton, that guy I mentioned first, he has no more eligibility. He'll be out. And then there's, I don't know if he's a first-round talent or not, but there's a buzz around him is that former Alabama kid transferred to Oklahoma for his final year of eligibility. So
Yep.
he's got Lincoln Riley as his coach, the Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
And then you also have shit, his name was on my tongue before. There was one other guy. So it's deep.
Now, is it deep enough where some of those guys are going to end up sliding like they did this year?
Yes, I can see Fromm sliding because people really aren't on him as big as I am.
Right.
He could slide. Jordan Love could be a guy that slides because
Right.
he's inconsistent. I think the favorites right now are Tua and Herbert,
Right.
and I'm going on record now is I'd keep my hands off of Herbert. I don't like him.
Okay.
He has a big cannon arm, but he can't lob the passes or take something off for touch
Right.
to where he's got to get it over the linebacker and then let it rainbow drop down into the before the safety. He's not good at those throws. They sail on him like they do for Rosen, and he ends up with picks.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But Fromm gets heat because they don't think he's an actual full blown leader.
Yeah.
But I look at it, he forced that Fields kid to transfer, and he forced Eason to transfer.
Oh.
They had 3 5-star quarterbacks, and they had the other guys transferred out because Fromm was that good.
Okay. So you already know that he can win a competition.
Yeah, he had to win against that Fields kid that transferred and the Eason that transferred. Like legit first, second round talent quarterbacks. They on themselves transferred out because they know he won.
So that in itself is an admirable trait. The fact that he's able to win a competition against other elite talent. And that comes back to what we have going on right now. If Josh Rosen cannot beat Ryan Fitzpatrick out,
We're fucked.
exactly. Then it looks like the worst damn draft. Oh man.
But see where I'm not panicking is I'm looking at it that we gave that second and fifth round pick for Rosen
Right.
because he still has 3 years left for less than $3 million
Right.
with a 4th year option if he does something. And at the very least, we have to ask ourselves, this is what I ask myself, and I'll go ahead and tell you. Ask yourself, can we sign a backup quarterback for less than $3 million?
We cannot. But that backup quarterback is going to be a second round pick.
True,
That's the only thing.
but it's fucking cheap.
It is cheap, but I can get a starter in the second round. That's the only thing.
But say he doesn't win, for argument's sake. Say he doesn't beat out year 1 on Fitzpatrick, and Fitz does really well, wins like 8 to 10 games, almost makes it to the playoff, or we get a wild card berth if we win 10. But say he misses it. Say we go 8-8, 9-7. That's mediocre, but it's still technically a winning season. It's not a loser.
Right.
And then say we go ahead and we spend some capital, which neither one of us want to do.
Right.
We have to move up, grab our first round quarterback.
I think I know where you're going with this.
So now, and we get him, and we still have Fitzpatrick for another year. So
Right.
we leave him in there to, like, now it goes from a 2-man competition to a 3-man competition.
Yep.
Say that 3rd year, it finally clicks for Rosen. He goes out there and shows that he's the man.
Right.
And say the rookie we drafted goes out there and shows he deserves a chance.
I know where this is going.
And we know we're not going to keep, at that point, we know we're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
So we can cut Fitzmagic, keep the 2 young guys, and then whoever we like the most, now we sucker a team like the Bengals The Arizona Cardinals say Murray isn't the guy because they really didn't fix their offensive line,
right?
Or even like the Raiders want to move on from Carr, they missed out on the top two guys.
The Jimmy Garoppolo situation.
Exactly, or even better than that, say we can get like Sam Bradford did for the Eagles. They fleeced the first round pick from the Minnesota Vikings for Sam fucking Bradford. Fleeced. And we could go in the 2021 draft with 2 first-round picks. We have our quarterback, and say we don't get, like, we're still stuck without, a stud defensive end, or say, we have that Kaju situation at safety, freak accident, the guy can no longer play, like Kendrick Norton. Something tragic happens to our defensive backs, we can go, we have the ammunition to get a Ward or a Lattimore type of guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yo. You know what? That is I like the way that sounds. I like the way that sounds.
Because at the very least, how I'm looking at it is if he can't beat it out. 'Cause if you look at him the way he's happening, I agree that the situation in Arizona was bad, but it's not as bad or as an excuse crutch that the media is giving him.
Yep.
But he actually really didn't have a quarterback coach in Arizona. And that's important for a young guy. And they didn't have a veteran quarterback on roster to help guide him through that first year. For every position, if you look at it, rookies that come in, like Khalil Mack was not a stud defensive end his rookie year.
Right.
And they had veterans like that they signed from that Irvin guy from the Seahawks. He came in, mentored him, and the next thing you know,
boom.
Year 2, year 3, Mac was like, you're talking about him and Von Miller as 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B.
Yep.
So it's a lot of guys don't understand how important that mentor is, even if it's only for a season or a half a season. And Rosen went in there, and he didn't have that mentor at the quarterback spot. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, he didn't have weapons either. Who the fuck is Fitzgerald? To me, he's one of the best wide receivers in the game.
Yep.
He's a damn good mentor. So it's not like he was devoid of mentorship. But at the same token, they fired his offensive coordinator after a couple of games, got a new guy who ended up getting fired because he wasn't very smart either.
So it was just a coaching staff that didn't know what the hell they were doing, period.
Right. And Darnold, he doesn't look all that great, but he still had Josh McCown, who's a decent mentor. I mean, he's not the best one, but he was a veteran that's been in the league that can pass on. You don't really want to skip this workout. You don't want to miss this training room. These guys are going to have you got your receivers are going to go have a session. They're going to throw the ball around. You might want to go out there and build some rapport with your teammates, kind of suggestions. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think I could tell by listening to Rosen, he didn't have that.
Right.
And like when he got traded to Miami, you heard what I said about when he come in as a rookie.
Right.
I did not like Josh Rosen or Josh Allen. I didn't even want to give a 6th round pick for those two guys. You know that I said that.
Right.
But like when he got traded to Miami, Kenny Stills met him at the airport and let him stay with him all of OTAs till OTAs broke.
Yep.
Stayed at Kenny Stills' house and didn't even charge the guy rent or nothing, just to help mentor the kid.
Yep. Oh man, I'm telling you, that's one of the best leaders on this team. If only we can get that guy to run with some physicality after he catches the damn ball.
No shit. Remember that first down last year? He didn't get it because he fell out. Oh my god, I was so mad. I think you turned the live stream off. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what? Fuck. If my guy can do this too, fuck it. See you later, guys. Sorry. And it went click. You were gone.
Yeah, I turned it off on my phone died, so it went off on Facebook. But I'm gonna upload the whole thing anyway.
because this right here is going to give them a lot better audio than the Facebook is, because all I'm doing on the Facebook is I'm using the sound from the speakers and I'm playing that to Facebook, so it's not a great quality. So I'm absolutely gonna upload this once it finishes on YouTube. But anyway, guys, it is 9:28. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Dolphin Fan Voices podcast. If you guys are like the show, please make sure that you guys share this to your Facebooks, to your Twitters, to your Instagrams, anywhere that you can share it to. Bring your friends, bring your family to tune in. This is going to be every Saturday night at 7:30. Just got started a little bit late today. I was out doing some work with my son. But anyway, man, thank you guys for tuning into the show. Follow us on Twitter. I'm going to create a Dolphin Fan Voices podcast Twitter page, and probably, depending on how big, how much we start to grow, probably some other things in the future. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Talk to you next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.